I started riding horses when I was about 13 years old, and my trainer said I was good, so a year later they put me in shows, and I showed on a horse named Bob. I've owned Rose, I think, wait, hold on, let me do the math. About 6 years. I did Western Pleasure and halter and stuff with Bob, and that was just kind of like his discipline that he did, and I mean, we got first, so that was cool. A lot of money and a lot of time and energy, and just you gotta know what you're doing if you're gonna train a horse, and you gotta ride them pretty much 5 to 7 days a week. It's kind of like you're an athlete, but they're also the athlete, and you gotta keep them in tip-top shape. You can't just take a horse out of a pasture and decide to go in a show, because shows could last anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. So that's all day, and a horse that's just been pulled from a pasture is going to get exhausted. Just like if you go to run in a track and you haven't ran in 2 years, you're not going to do well. So you just got to keep you and the horse in tip-top shape together in order to go to a show. So in the summer, we do practice shows with my trainer at home, and we literally start at 6 o'clock in the morning and go till 7 o'clock at night. Otherwise, I just go out and I brush them. I bond with them, brushing, and then I tack them up, and I go decide what I'm going to do that day. So if I want to do flat stuff, I go around the rail. With her, every other day is a barrel day, so I would just brush her, bond with her, and then warm her up, and we go run barrels. What me and Rose do is barrel racing. It's a speed event. And we get clocked on our time. That's what we're judged on. My other horses, they don't do speed events, and they do more like pleasure events, and that's just a different classification of the sport. What they do before you know when you're going out into the arena to run the barrels is they say on deck, in the hole, and so when you're the third person to go up, what I do with my horse is we do really small imaginary barrels, and we just practice it a couple times. And then when they say I'm on deck, then I just kind of like do a mental like relaxation process just so I'm not nervous, because if I'm nervous, she feels my energy, and then she'll get nervous, and I don't want a nervous horse going into the arena. And we do a little prayer right before we go in, and I don't think about how fast I need to go. I don't think about how fast the other people have gone. All I do is I just set a goal in my head. I need to get around that first barrel, and the second I do that, I need to get around that second barrel, third barrel, and then just go home. That's the only process I think about. If I think about how well other people did, then I get nervous, and it just doesn't ever really work out the way it should. The last show we ran in, we got 6th place, and I believe that was about a 15-something second score, so pretty fast. Yeah, when I was doing some research on this project, I always heard that when I talk to people about horseback riding, and they always say that, oh, it's not a sport, the horse just does what you tell it to, and you just sit there. I kind of laugh in a little bit in my head, but not out in front of them. And I just try to throw some statistics out to them. And actually, at one website, if you go to thetop10s.com, horseback riding is actually linked to one of the most dangerous sport in the world, because there's a lot of fatalities and a lot of injuries that go involved with it, and you have to be mentally and physically fit in order to ride and show a horse. And if you look into it, the U.S. has a 70% fatality rate involving head injuries while riding a horse. So it's basically just as dangerous for your head as it is if you were out in the football field and you were about to tackle somebody. We need to protect everything we have. And somebody I follow in the barrel horse world, actually, she never wore a helmet before this incident, and she was riding a young horse and got thrown off of the horse and broke her vertebrae and her back, and she had a 2% survival rate just in general, and 0.4% just to ever get on a horse again. And a couple years later, here she is being the NFR top barrel horse racer in the world. She's training and showing colts. She's showing her own horse. She's been to the NFR. She's won grand champion in all these barrel shows. So it just goes to show just like how dangerous this sport could go, and why helmets are so necessary when you show and ride. Just if you're gonna get on the horse's back, you should probably wear a helmet.